My name, parentheses, is Joanna. A musical conversation about gender evolution.
I start off with this song because if your gender expression does not conform to social expectations, chances are you will start your life pretending. For me, the song you just heard has always been about pretending. I used to pretend that it was a song that I could perform just to say, look at me playing two instruments at the same time, and that the lyrics could be fairly shallow and no one would care. During this point in time, I also pretended that the song lyrics were about flirting with a boy, and not knowing if I actually got his attention because I was just making eyes at his reflection in a train window. I even had a second verse about the flirtation in which I explicitly wonder if the boy had a moment of connection too, or if it was all in my mind. Given this origin story, one could say that the song is actually about pretending to flirt and feeling powerful knowing that there are no consequences if you're not so good at flirting.
Or one could dig a little deeper, which is ultimately what I ended up doing, as I became more in touch with my own gender fluidity. I wondered why I had automatically read the recipient of my flirtatious energy as male, and why that was important. Perhaps I would have read them differently if they had been dressed more like this.
Yeah! Oh my god, yes.
I started thinking about how beautiful it really is that subtle changes to how we present ourselves can have such dramatic impact on how we are perceived by others. As a reality check for myself, and a reminder to keep digging deeper, I wrote a new second verse, assigning my least favorite gender expression to my own perception, or maybe to someone else's perception, hard to say at this point. In the second verse, the protagonist of the song flirts with their own gendered perception of the world rather than an actual human being. And then a chorus of voices come in and to remind the audience that this instance of flirtation with a human or an expectation exists as a moment in time. This moment can be as long or as short as the protagonist desires. One can also choose to exist between the expectations or in harmony with multiple expectations. For me, playing oboe and violin at the same time in this song has come to represent multiple genders tugging at me at all times. This talk is about change, and a song is never finished. In the next iteration of the song, similar narratives from queer community and chosen family will be woven into the texture. For example, this text fragment from my dear friend Anaís Azul, the opening line of their song, Mi Piel, and the narrative fits so perfectly into my own experience of constantly being asked to fragment myself, either through gender expression or through razor-sharp focus on perfecting one instrument chosen for me by societal belief that this is the way I can get ahead. Have a listen. It's a moment, it's a moment, it's a moment with someone's reflection. It's a moment, it's a moment, it's a moment in your perception. It's a moment. I can put together all the pieces of my broken past. It's a moment with someone's reflection. It's a moment. I can put together all the pieces of my broken past. It's a moment in your perception. Now, there are many people who would argue that someone's gender should not be what defines them. And as a person living somewhere under the non-binary umbrella, I completely agree. But also, as a non-cis person who is mostly read as a cis man, I find that gender is thrown in my face more often than not. It's hard to walk down the street without hearing at least one person call me sir, man, dude, or bro, or some other masculine name. People from my past who... I need that. People from my past who knew me before my social circle was explicitly queer are especially guilty of this behavior. A typical conversation with someone I know from school will inevitably go something like this. Person from my past. Oh, hey, dude, what's up? Oh my god, it's so good to see you, man. I didn't know you were still in town. Me, already feeling a little unsafe. Oh, hi, great to see you too. Person from my past. Yo, man, what have you been up to? Me. Just freelancing and organizing. Please don't call me man, by the way. I really hate it. At this point, I'll usually gesture to whatever the least masked piece of clothing I have on is, whether it be a skirt, a fluffy dress,
a fluffy coat, pronoun pin with they, them, theirs written on it. Person from my past will inevitably respond, "Oh, I'm sorry, dude. I didn't know." And I'll say, "Please don't call me dude either." If I'm lucky, a light bulb will then go on in their head, and they'll say, "But dude is gender neutral. I'm from California, and we call everyone dude there." And I'll give them a look of disdain, and they'll get the message. If I'm less lucky, they will say, "Okay, well, good to see you, man." And I'll walk away, hoping I have a companion nearby who witnessed the interaction and can give me the comfort I need in this moment. So at this point in my life, I haven't figured out how to navigate misgendering from people I knew before I was out, especially if I'm not close with them. And as a result, I tend to avoid social spaces where I think it's likely to happen. I guess that's why so many people in this group don't know that I'm still in town. However, a defining moment for me has been the moment I realized I could shut down misgendering from strangers very quickly. The first time I did this was while ordering food. The person taking my order was misgendering me very aggressively. And in that setting, I wasn't going to ask him not to, for food service jobs are hard enough, and it's not like I was likely to see this person again. But it was still bugging me a lot. Then suddenly, he asked me for a name, and I knew exactly what I had to do.
right, 'cause my name is Joanna. My name is Joanna. My name is Joanna. Oh, my name is Joanna. My name is Joanna. My name is Joanna. And my name is still Joanna if I sing it like this. You notice me on all your legal forms. No need to consult me, just check the box with the big old M, 'cause obviously you have no idea what I'm going through. no idea who I really am. You pretend that you know me, relate to me, until I give you my name. One more time, you have no idea what I'm going through. You have no idea who I really am. You pretend that you know me, relate to me, until I give you my name. That's right, you have no idea what you're going through. You have no idea who I really am. You pretend that you know me, relate to me, until I give you my name. That's right, 'cause my name is Joanna. 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 Sir, man, dude, bro, you don't fucking know. There's power in the name I choose to give. There's power in the ways I choose to present. There's power in the secrets I choose to disclose, and there's power in withholding those same secrets. This is what I learned in that moment at the food counter, when I realized I could put a stop to misgendering by simply giving out a different name. Small change for me with very real new possibilities. In any social situation now, I can introduce myself as Rafael, Raf, Joanna, or something else entirely, and this is not something to be taken for granted at all. I can change the way people think about my gender and myself as a result. Just in any particular social space, I am entering that space with the knowledge that I made that decision and took agency over how I would like to be perceived in that space. For straight and cis people, this is probably pretty mundane, but for queer and trans people, this can make the difference between self-acceptance and suicide in unsafe social settings. And that's why the song is titled My Name, parentheses, is Joanna. It is my hope that all of my queer and trans community can find the name or names that they want to put in those parentheses. The names that can be used or not used in any given moment. And the names that can provide power, even if never used publicly. And now, I'd like to introduce you to Joanna. Joanna is femme. Joanna is vulnerable. Joanna is in danger when she walks down the street. But Joanna is more confident than I have ever been. Joanna is my best self. This past July, I was Joanna for a whole month while on tour in Germany and France with these magnificent humans sharing the stage with me. Was I always dressed so femme? Absolutely not. Sometimes I would be wearing jeans and a t-shirt with an unshaven face and no makeup. Other times I would go overboard with the makeup and draw cats across my face with eyeliner. These amazing bandmates gave me confidence to be my best self no matter what I was wearing. We would walk into thrift stores in neighborhoods that were not always queer-friendly and shamelessly try on outfits that subverted gender expectations, even purchasing a few. When I said goodbye to my tour mates, I had the confidence of Joanna. I had an extra day in Marseille and knew that it would be a little unsafe to go out in full Joanna attire, but I was still feeling fabulous. So I put on some sparkly black pants and a very shiny red button-down shirt with gold buttons, plus my little they, them, theirs pin. I wasn't expecting to have to explain pronouns to anyone because I was in a foreign country and felt like it could be my little Joanna-esque secret.
something I could take joy in wearing without anyone else knowing or caring. Turns out I was incredibly wrong. It was not long before I became extremely thirsty and wandered into a convenience store to buy a bottle of water. The clerk started asking questions about my PIN. He spoke no English and I spoke no French, but somehow we understood each other enough for me to know he was asking about my gender. Funny how that seems to be a priority in so many cultures. I became increasingly uncomfortable with the questioning as I realized he was not just fascinated by my gender expression, but was actually hoping he could persuade me to hook up. When I realized he was not taking no for an answer, I left €2 on the counter, grabbed the water bottle, and ran out of there. I was a wreck for the next couple of weeks, questioning my existence, my ability to travel, my safety, my everything. I thought about elements of nature that feel emotionally unstable, change their presentation constantly for survival, and exist in a way that is always empowering. Gradually, a song emerged.
The tides roll in, the tides roll out, the water high, the water low. The waves will move fast or slow. We claim that the moon is in control. What if I told you your emotions are the ocean? What if I asked you to let the tides roll in? Would you choose to see the soft light or the stingers on the jellies? Would you believe me if I told you that you never have to choose? What if I told you your emotions are the ocean? What if I told you your emotions are the ocean? What if I told you your emotions are the ocean? Would you believe me if I told you what just happened yesterday? It's a story about a creepy man who wanted to get laid. He offered me free water from his store to get his way. But although sex work is valid work, I'm not in to pay for bread. So I told him no, but he just said, por qué, por qué, por qué. Actually, he said pourquoi, but I want some to rhyme. Even in this trash encounter, I'm in charge of time. And goddammit, I need agency whenever I can take it. Cause even though no means no, I thought a reason was still no. And would you believe me if I said I won't go to the store now? If no one else is in there, just the six man at the door. And would you believe me if I said I'm getting a new wardrobe? Cause traveling's this hard, I can't be myself no more. And you know I am a lucky one, physically unharmed, but I can't help it if these tidal waves take over all my charm. And one day I will learn that I don't need to justify, but for now I feel my feelings and I have to tell you why. The sky is blue, the sky is gray, the sky changes clothing all damn day. You turn around, the sun goes down, a million colors fade away. What if I told you your emotions are the ocean? What if I asked you to let the tides roll in? Would you choose to see the soft light or the stingers on the jellies? Would you believe me if I told you that you never have to choose? What if I told you your emotions are the ocean? What if I told you your Would you believe me?